Welcome to Highland Waves, a podcast originating from Marshbrook Studios, located beside the world-renowned Margaree River in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, Canada. Highland Waves feature stories about the people, the places, and the visitors of Inverness County. I'm Pat Wall, host of Highland Waves, and it's my pleasure this morning to introduce to you a new resident of East Margaree, Alina Barmak. Good morning, Alina.
Hi.
Alina, her husband Andre, and two of their three children are from the Ukraine. Their third child, David, was born 4 weeks ago here in Antigonish. Congratulations to you and Andre.
Thank you a lot.
And all the children are doing well?
Yeah.
That's great. Could you please tell me where in the Ukraine you were born and raised?
Both of us, me and Andre, we were born and raised in a small city called Novograd-Volynski, but now it was renamed in Zviagel. They decided to return to the older name of our city. Yeah, so we were born there, and then I go to university in another city, and Andre, he works in a lot of places, even in a couple countries. Yeah, but a lot of our relatives and our parents stay there.
What did you study in university?
I study international information, so I learn English, and it's kind of journalistic, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so it really helps me to learn English, and I'm happy, to know it.
You're doing very well.
Thank you.
Did you work as a journalist after your training?
No, sadly, but it was too hard to find this kind of job. So I work in a couple places as operator. So I made a lot of calls, yeah. And the next, my job was logistic. Okay. So I also communicate with the people and try to help, how to call that? Sorry, I forgot the word.
Immigrants?
To deliver,
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Where did you meet your husband, Andre?
I'm not sure the day we get acquainted and meet each other, because I almost all the time knew his parents, and but we were in one church.
Okay.
So we became a friend because of the church camp. We were both together there helping with preparing territory for the camp. So we worked together, and that's how we get closer.
You started volunteering early.
Yes.
There seems to be a feeling, at least outside of the Ukraine and Russia, that there was always a thought by those who live in the Ukraine that perhaps Russia was going to invade at some point. Did you have that feeling growing up, or through your early years, or before you left?
Maybe just last year before war, because before that, maybe I'm not so close to politics or this kind of stuff,
sure.
But a lot of people even in my city speak Russian, and it's never was a problem. So I even have relatives in Russia, so it never was a issue. So just the last year, because of hearing news that there is a problem, and then in 2014, then invasion of Southern Territory. So, but people almost used to everything. So from 2014, we're used to that there is conflict.
Yes.
But we never thought it will go further, that they will go in a center. And Yes, so till the last day, we had news, but we were like, oh, it's never happened. So we want to believe that. Yeah.
You wanted to look on the good side.
Yes.
Things would remain the same, but
Yeah.
sometimes they don't, and in this case they didn't.
Yeah.
How has it affected your lives and those of your loved ones back in the Ukraine?
You mean war?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, a lot of my friends and relatives had to leave Ukraine, especially youth families, because the older people, I think it's too hard for them to leave their houses. And in my city, so in the center of Ukraine, now there is no fighting. So there is, like 2 weeks ago, there was a rocket who was vanished by the Ukrainian forces, but the pieces of it fell to my town. And in spite of that, my parents said, we never leave our home. We want to stay here, and better die here than start a new life somewhere. But those who are younger, like my elder brother, or my friends, cousins, almost everybody leave our city and Ukraine. So a lot of them in Germany, in Poland, my niece in Holland. So they had to leave and find opportunity. Somebody just wait time to return, because not everyone in their family leave Ukraine. For example, my older brother stayed in Ukraine, just his kids and wife leave Ukraine, so they just wait a time to unite it. Yes, so it's just horrible, because I miss time on the Sundays to meet with my mother in their home and with my older brother, and to see my friends. Yes, so it's a great impact.
A big impact. Families go deep, and it goes back many years, and it's hard to, you never forget.
Of course.
You know, you always go back. What made you leave Ukraine?
In the first day, when we heard about the first explosion in Kyiv, we were hesitate. Should we go somewhere? Should we stay and wait? But my husband has a relative who is military, and he said that my advice for you to leave Ukraine. He even asked to take his children with us, because he couldn't leave Ukraine because of his job. So he said, please take my car, because we had an old one. Take my car, take my 2 daughters, and leave Ukraine. So it was huge. It was like advice for someone who knew situation maybe deeper than we. Yes, so but in our heads we think, okay, we'll leave like for a couple weeks and we will return. It will end soon. It won't like. Yes, so Andrei said, I will stay, because he had a job in those time, and we had a dogs. So he said, I take you away and I will return. And when it will be okay here, you will return with the kids and with the niece. So we decided to go to Germany, to my brother. I have a brother there. Yeah, so we expected the road to Poland border. Usually it takes 5 hours to get there.
To travel from Germany
from
to
our
Poland.
city,
From your city. Okay.
to the Poland border. But it was so many cars going out of Ukraine. It took us about 30 hours. A lot of people, even by foot, go out. So there was children and families dragging their bags, and people in cars try to leave Ukraine. And about 20 kilometers before border, there's cars couldn't move. So there was a traffic jam because of so many cars that were there. So we leave our car, Andre park it, and we go by foot this last piece of way. Yeah, so Andre also went with us just to help us with the bags and all stuff. Yeah, but there were kind people, like also volunteers, who took people in their car and tried to go like through the woods or to some trails where there's no car. So they help us. Like we drive at 10 kilometers with one man, and approximately 10 kilometers we walk to the Poland border. Yeah, it was a hard day to.
Yeah, how did you do for food?
Yeah, we didn't get a lot of food with us because it's like 5 hours, so we take sandwiches. But there was a gas station, so we can buy food. And near with the border, the local people from the villages around, they took tables, they took so different dishes and all kind of stuff, and they gave food for free for those who, like, you can get a hot tea and some soup. So yeah.
That was very nice.
Yes.
So you were in Germany. How long did you stay in Germany?
As I said, we planned to be there like a couple weeks, but after 3 months there, we understood that it won't end soon. Yes, so and husband lost his job in those time. He worked as a roaster, and there was no orders because restaurants, cafe closed. So he gifted our dogs to different people, and we decided that we should start a life in a different country because husband saw situation inside and so said that it will be hard for to sustain a family here even after the war will end because economically it's so hard. So he came to us in Germany, and we start researching, start thinking, praying where we should stay. And although in Germany also was so kind people that helped us while we were there, but it was too hard to get permanent residence there, or to get a job. We didn't know language, neither husband. Yeah. So and then we heard about this program in Canada that they created a special program for Ukrainians. So we decided to go to Canada, and we were thinking what province, and we chose Nova Scotia. I even can't tell you why, logically, just because we don't have anybody here to stay. And but there was a couple websites, so the ordinary Canadian families accept Ukrainians, give them housing for like couple weeks, for example, while they searching to rent some place. So we look through these websites to find a spot to stay. And at that point, miracles starts happening. We have a friend in United States who came to Ukraine to our church as a missionary. His name is Brandon Wimpy. And he constantly write messages to me, how are you and where are you? So we said we plan to move to Canada. And I have a cousin there. And then in what province? And he said, in Nova Scotia. And we were like, okay, that's the sign. So we connected with Chris Wimpy and his family, one of the kindest people that we met, because they gave us a house and help with the documents, with all kind of stuff that we tried to figure out these first days here.
Of course.
Yeah, so they help us so much. And the church, they help to raise money so we can buy a car for our family, because we had to do a lot of driving to make all these documents.
Need transportation.
Yes. So they understood that, and they were preparing to our arrival even before we came here. So it's just a miracle, yeah.
So, if I get this correct, he is working with the church on your behalf to get you located here in East Margaree?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It must be real difficult on Andre's parents as well. Those who are left behind, sometimes it's hard.
Yeah.
How are they doing?
So Andre has a father. His mother passed away a couple years before. Also, he has a sister who stayed in Ukraine. So my father-in-law, or Andre's father, has a support there. But of course it's hard, and we try to convince him to come to us, but it's hard for him, not physically, more to leave the place where he raised his children, and where he knows all his neighbors.
Of course.
So yeah.
It's his home.
Yeah, it's his home. So, but it's good to have, for example, my parents and Andre's father, so they live near with each other. So they support each other, and it's easier, to think that there is people who can help him or my parents to support, and we all the time connected through the social media or through the internet.
Yeah, social media has done wonders for everybody, but in those cases, it's great.
Yeah.
What is the biggest difference living here in East Margaree than living in your hometown in Ukraine?
That's a great question. Although I know a lot of people in my hometown and have relatives there, and I was expecting to come here to be alone, because we didn't know anybody here. But I think the main difference, people here more open, more friendly to accept new people in their community. They're so welcomed and have so willingness to help. I didn't feel this even in my hometown, because it impressed us so much, so that neighbors can just come in to say hi, or to ask, maybe you need something, or if you need help, just come. And it's a different in Ukraine, so people may be more separate so that's impressed us, and we're so grateful for that. I don't know if it's just Margaree or just Cape Breton or the whole Canada, but one day we were in Sydney, not far from here, and I got acquainted with a lady and said how much people here help us and how welcome they are. And she said, "Oh, I'm not surprised. People in Cape Breton, this kind of..." No, but I'm surprised. Yeah.
Well, it's true. Cape Bretoners are very open and friendly.
Yes.
As are most Canadians, but particularly, I think, from the East Coast, because I will say that because I'm from the East Coast and I'm more familiar with it. But in general, I think Canadians and Cape Bretoners in particular are quite friendly and open to newcomers, and always willing to help, as you said, and I'm glad that has taken place for you.
Yeah.
How are the children adjusting?
Sorry?
How are the children adjusting?
Oh, they were in Germany a couple months, so then we moved to Canada. So they look at adventure. It's interesting for them. I thank God that He gave wisdom to my husband to leave Ukraine in the first days because they didn't hear this explosion, air alarm, so they didn't understand fully, and I'm happy because of that, what's happened. So they're like, oh, we go visiting our uncle in Germany. Of course, we explain this thing, but they are pretty good at adjusting because they have their parents near with them, and they have each other. So we have 2 children, and it's easier because they all the time have a company to play with.
Correct.
And it's interesting for them. Yes, it's
an adventure.
Yes, it's just like adventure. They like to find new friends and to see new places. Oh, that's so interesting. I'll translate for me this word and what's that. So maybe because they're little.
Yeah. Youth is wonderful.
Yes.
Okay. So you were homeschooling, I understand?
Yes.
How's that going?
It was a little bit hard for the first couple weeks because of the new language. We tried to. My older Ilyusha already know Ukrainian letters, and then we tried to start learning English, and almost all of them like similar looking, but they made different sounds. And he's like, no, that's not the sound for this letter. All the time.
Is wrong.
Yeah, he argued all the time. Like, no, I know this letter. That's wrong that you're saying. Yeah, but he's adjusting, and it gets easier now.
Oh, good. Sometimes the most difficult part after moving to a new country is finding employment.
Yeah.
And obviously to earn your living. How are things going for you in that regard now?
Oh, it's one of the wonder that we have, because the first time when this Wimpy's family give us a home, so they say no worries, you can stay here, and there is no rush to find a job. So you just did all these documents and all this kind of stuff, but came time that we should do that, and we tried to find a home to rent, house to rent, and try to find a job. It's easier with a job, but of course we want to find a place to live also. So to find this thing together in one place is much harder. And after I think 4 months here, when we're looking for housing, we understood that it's hard here, maybe because of the small cities here. So friend of our friend here said that there is a family from Halifax who tried to find also family to look for their property. So they were looking for property managers, and they give a house with a job together. And we're like, oh, that's perfect. That's what we are looking for. And we get a contact of these people, so nice family, and they came from the Halifax. We met each other, and we're feeling so blessed because they say, yeah, of course, you can move in like the next day in this house. They show us house, show this place where we can be working. And it happened so fast. So we look for a house couple months, and then in one day, everything
happens.
Yes. So it was like one of this wonder that I felt our lives filled here. So we find a house and find a job to work to get an income for our family just in one day, and meet another wonderful family, just a nice people who also said, we will help you. Maybe you need some furniture here, or maybe you need something for your children. Yeah, just
that's a really good story.
Yes.
How's Andrei doing? How's he doing?
Oh, he's a little bit hard because of the language barrier. He know Ukrainian, Russian, Italian, but no English.
Okay.
So it's a little bit hard. But for now, we almost half of a year here. He almost understand everything. So it just takes communicate with the people. But speaking a little bit harder. But thanks to this job that we have, we almost all the time together, so we can help each other.
Of course.
I can translate for him, and it's much easier that we're together all the time.
I understand you started a coffee marketing business.
Yeah.
Andre has a background in coffee. Could you explain that a little bit?
Yes. In Ukraine, the year before war, he worked in a local company, roasting company, but he was like a worker. We didn't own our business. And his boss, has this, can't explain why, but has this desire to learn Andre everything. So they even became friends. And he took him everywhere to a business trip to buy a new roaster, for example, for his mini factory. And he take him to his laboratory when where he did or checking stuff. I even don't know how to explain this, all the stuff with the coffee. So he learned him everything and show him how to roast, how to do tasting of it, learn different kinds of beans and kinds of roasting. So my husband Andre learned for this year a lot of stuff about coffee, and it was like a university of coffee for him, not just a simple job. And
Yes.
It was so interesting for him, and he really loved it.
That's great. So what is the process? He imports the coffee from Honduras, I think?
Here, you mean
Okay.
here? Yes. More wonder here, because when we came, we mentioned, he roasted coffee, but of course we didn't expect to have this job here. And we're I go to construction or any job to have an income. And our friend here, Chris, that accepted our family, he said, maybe we try to find a roasting job for Andre. We're oh, wow, that's just perfect, yeah. And another man, he's from Alberta, but he originally from here, from these places, Jeff Fraser. They, with Chris together, they decided that they will help us to build our own business. And there is no words even in Ukrainian to show how impressed, how we were just shocked about this news when they say, we want to help you to build your own business. And we were we don't know what to say. We didn't know what to say. So Jeff bought a roaster for us. He had a friend in Alberta who already owned roasting business.
Okay.
So he, together with him, bought the green coffee beans from Honduras. And he keep helping us with all this kind of stuff, because everything is new for us here. Even simplest thing, order bags for coffee or stickers, and then a register business. So we're so blessed here with all the people surrounding us.
Well, really glad to hear that. And how do you sell your coffee?
For now, we do that from place we live,
Okay.
from our home,
Okay.
and sometimes people order from Facebook, so we deliver it. We didn't have a spot to sell, a store or something, but we just started. So we try to figure out this thing, And usually, yeah, it goes from for the Facebook, or the neighbors came to our place and say, I want to have a bag of coffee, and then, yeah, we just
Okay.
deliver it.
How are sales going? Are they doing okay now?
It's little by little, but as long as we just started and we have another job,
Of course.
so it's good to make it slowly. But yeah, we have a small orders a couple times in a week, so it's good. We're glad because it's just a couple weeks that we start, so it's really good. Yeah.
And the name of your company is Brotherhood Coffee?
Yes.
That's a nice name.
Yeah, we try to reflect our feeling about being here, thankfulness for Canadian people, about all this kindness and welcoming that we feel here. So when we were in Ukraine, we didn't have anybody here, and it feels like we have family here now.
Wow.
So it just this name came out of all these feelings, brotherhood, just supporting of Canadian people to Ukrainian.
You've thought a lot about this.
Yeah.
Very good. If you were to advise people who were in the same situation that you were in, what would you tell them?
You mean those who came to Canada also?
Yeah,
Or?
yeah, difficult. People in difficulty. What would you tell them now? Advice.
I think be more open, not hesitate to accept help and ask for help, because Ukrainians not so emotional, maybe a little bit more close than Canadians, and sometimes it's bad for them because people here really welcoming and opening. So try to be open to the people, yeah, and as we experience, if you ask for help, you will get it. So not hesitate to do that.
Before we end the interview, is there anything you would like to add?
Oh, just I think I want to say thank you for all local peoples, for everybody who message to our page in Facebook, to those who came to our place just to say hi. Oh, you're new people here, just want to say hi. To those who support us. We didn't expect such warm here, and we didn't expect to have so many friends here. So our family have this gratitude to all people here, and I just want to say thank you for that.
Well, Alina, thank you for taking the time to come and tell us about your story.
Thank you for the invitation.
You're very welcome. It's a difficult one, your story, but the hardship you've overcome to reach this new life here in East Margaree, though sad, has another side. It's the joy your decision to settle here has given to your new neighbours. We are lucky to have you, and I wish you and your family every success here, especially with your Brotherhood Coffee. Several people who I've talked to like it, and let's hope a lot more people do.
Hope so.
Thank you to our listeners, and a reminder to hit the like and subscribe buttons so you can stay up to date. Today's thought: joy is what happens to us when we allow ourselves to recognize how good things really are.